to the live bot.
Hey everyone, Q here, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now, the famous martial artist Bruce Lee once said, to have no way is way, have no limitation as limitation. This is very much how an Mazrah regame can feel. The map's so big, there's so many choices of where you can go, you can be overwhelmed. But come with me and we'll break those limitations. But as always, first up, we need to make our way over to Warzone Hub. Okay, so once you made your way over to Warzone Hub and you got the filter set up, we can see there's 22 spawns here. Now the notable ones are, there's the two up north at the Oasis and the Tarak spawn. You can have a bit of a sniper battle here, or people can get a car and push each other. Then all these ones in the east are fairly hot too. The one north of the city there can get pushed to the one from the left. And then obviously there's the infamous one down here, just south of the police academy. If you make your way into that armory, that inland one there can push in. The one down just north of Al Bagra, if you look immediately to your right, you can have a sniper battle with that one just down by the airport. The three down by Sullivan Village, they are all fairly close together. And then there's obviously the one just north of Port and the one to the west of the quarry. You guys can run into each other fairly quickly. Just make a quick little mental note where those spawns are and try to anticipate where other players are going to be heading straight off the rip. Now there are a fair few hidden caches on our Mazrah. If you want to make your way around, these are fine, but I'd sort of come across these more and just use them as an opportunistic thing. Check them out if you're passing by them, they can still drop some pretty good loot, but I generally don't tend to go out of my way, but just be mindful the ones up around the Oasis and the ones by the port are pretty well known for finding your cephalexin and those chemicals if you're still working away at those passive unlocks. So the gameplay in the background is off my favourite spawn, which is on the opposite side of the river from Syed City. You can hit the supermarket here, there's always a ton of plates. Hit the petrol station on your way, see if you can get yourself a scuba gas mask, and then we're going to make our way up to the observatory. We're just going to stick on that southern side and we're going to parachute into Akdar village. Now there's a room here for the sniper team that is locked. You will need a skeleton key. I did an earlier video where you can get skeleton keys down in the Crochet complex, so I'll link that in the video description for you guys. Now in here there is a guaranteed stealth and comms vest. You'll find yourself a couple of legendary chests and you'll find yourself some decent guns. So by far, in my opinion, the quickest way to get started for a regame in Al Mazrah. Next up is the Mazrah Raid Dome. Now if you played the Modern Warfare 3 reveal event, you'll know that this place got hit pretty hard with a bombardment and it's blown this locked room wide open. Now to get here and avoid the bots, you can either come from the western side and just work your way up the mountain, or you can come from underneath through that underground bunker system. If you get here first, there are a good 4 legendary chests, a whole lot of cash and some loot. It's even worthwhile having a look around if it has been looted. There is a key here for the second story of the Adal Bank in Sullivan Village, which does lead us onto the chemical storage, so we'll go check that out soon. Okay, so once you're done with the Mazrah Raid Dome and you're still up at the observatory, you can make your way onto Akdar's side, and a little bit further south, the scientist's apartment has also been blown open from the bombardment, and there's another legendary chest in here, and you're also going to find yourself a 3 or 4 attachment weapon, so it's worth checking out while you're up there. Just be mindful of those bots. So when you finished observatory, you want to start making our way out to Sullivan Village. I just skydive heading south, working my way around the eastern side of the cemetery and then to that radio tower. Climb up the radio tower and you'll be able to skydive from there all the way to the bank of Adal in Sullivan Village. The room we want to get to is on the top floor to get the key for the chemical storage, which is on the computer bench. It's worthwhile having a bit of a loot around while we're here. The banks, they all have high spawn rate for gold bars, gold skulls, and those encrypted USB sticks and hard drives if you want to craft a comms or a stealth vest if you haven't picked one up so far. Okay, once you're done looting the Bank of Adal, find yourself a boat. There's normally a ton of them in Sawa Village, and then we're just going to make our way up the western side of the map through the water. That way you can avoid all the players and bots, and up to the top northwest corner, come ashore, and then make your way to the chemical storage building. This used to be a favourite for big streamers like Stott and Westie back in the early days of DMZ. In here you're going to find yourself 4 legendary crates and a whole lot of other loot. Now I don't normally find this looted, so the chances of all the loot being here is pretty good, so it's definitely worth checking out. For those of you who worked your way through the mission structure, you're probably aware of the cartel warehouse. Now, starting down in Sawa Village, I'd like to start with this middle beached ship where you can get yourself a scuba gas mask, and work your way over to the one further to the east, which just has the tippy top of the bridge poking out. If you dive down, you can acquire the cartel warehouse key. Now from there you just need to make your way around to port, and in the centre of the port is the cartel warehouse. Now I consider this to be the twin sister of the chemical storage. You can find up to another 4 legendary chests in here and a whole lot of other good loot, so definitely another one to check out. With so many locked spaces and rooms on our Mazrah, it's hard to mention any notable ones, but there is a website called DMZ Keys. Now this is run by a content creator named Troubleshoot Basics. This is really good, it's got interactive maps, and you can look up the key that you've picked up, and it has a little 2-3 minute short video, and it'll show you where it is and give you some information, so definitely a good one to check out. So we take a quick break from all the looting around, let's have a look at some hotspots on the maps. Now in Mazrah City itself, with a high-rise tower and 7 TV building, people like to camp up on top of those. Also down there a little bit further south in the construction zone with those 2 towers, seems to be a fairly hot PvP spot down the airport. For whatever reason, people like to tamp the control tower. Said City, that's another hotspot for PvP, and to a lesser extent down in Sawa Village, just due to those spawns all being so close. Okay, for AI, hotspots starting in the South Seraph Bay is always pretty hot. Akdar Village, El Shroom Pass, Zaya Ray Dome, Said City, Satik Cave is definitely the hottest of the lot, even though there is a reasonable amount of loot there. Hydroelectric, Rohan to a lesser extent, they are spread out, they don't seem to be tier 3s but a lot of tier 2s, and then just sort of the same sort of deal with Tarak Village, just being spread out, but there is a lot of them. Okay, and then we'll take a look at some safer loot spots in my opinion. Out in the east is the port. There's a ton of duffel bags and lockers and things. If you stick to the buildings you can avoid the AI. Down in the south, Al Bagra, even though there's a lot of AI, you can stick to the rooftops and avoid them all. In the centre of the map, just to the east of the Zaya Ray Dome, there's a fairly safe spot there. It also has an armoury, that's a good one to check out early game. Then just north of airport, a little bit of AI there, but it's all sort of tier 1. Heaps of stuff there. The unnamed location out to the east, and then obviously the eastern part of the city. These are all great locations if you need batteries or soothing hand creams or games consoles. There's markets. You can find all of those locations in Warzone Hub, but yeah, either that or your passive unlocks, these are great places to come visit. By now most people know that the terminal is really good for loot. There's a ton of legendary crates in there, but if you're on one plate or you don't want to attract too much attention dealing with those tier 3 bots, what you can do is, while I've done this video here, you can just pop in and grab a couple of those crates from the outside and then take off. You might score enough just to get you started and then move on to other things. Okay, and the other well-known loot spot is obviously the 2 trains on the map. There's the cargo train that travels in a clockwise direction around the map, and the passenger train that goes in an anti-clockwise. Now the cargo train does spawn on the eastern side of the map, and the passenger train spawns on the western side of the map. The cargo train is one of the spawn points for the heavy chopper fuel, which is always good to pick up if you're a solo player. It just gives you another option to exfil, particularly if you get to the end of the game and you've got teams or platoons camping the exfils or even going to final exfil. Okay, and lastly, before we wrap things up, we'll just touch on PC part locations. We touched on the banks earlier. Over the 2 floors of the banks, you'll find a fair few PCs. In the eastern part of the city, you'll find what people refer to as the Games Dev Studio. Otherwise, you could think of it as the Al Mazrah office for Infinity Ward. Next to the Art Museum, there's an office building. Up on the 2nd floor, there's a fair few computers there. That's a pretty low risk one. Not many people loot there. The markets are a good place for your soothing hand cream, your batteries, and your game consoles and that kind of stuff. Over by Channel 7 they have 2 office buildings. There's a fair few computers in there that are pretty low traffic. On High Rise itself, down a few floors, there's the actual multiplayer map part. There's a few PCs in there. out east, Police Academy. Over the 2 floors there are tons of PCs, so check that out. And then lastly, the police stations. I think there's about 6 around the maps. Another great location for not just PC parts, but plates and armor boxes and vests, so definitely worth checking out early game. And there we go. Hopefully this one will help you guys get all re-kitted on our Mazrah. Now I'd be interested to hear from you guys in the comments section. Is there anything I've missed or anything you guys do differently to regun in our Mazrah? If you'd like to see regain videos for the Koche Complex and Building 21, let me know in the comments section below. If you found this helpful and or entertaining, I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe. And as always guys, until next time, I'll catch you all out there in the DMZ.